Welcome to SAT TV News. We are happy that you could have joined us. I'm Alicia George. In our top stories, Fire Chief updates the public on fire officers' protest action. Several schools in the rural area receive school supplies. In the region, Dutch Coast Guard suspends Curacao and Bonaire patrols over violence. And internationally, Ferguson police face new probe. In sports, player ballers defeat Point Michel in Youth Nations Cup tournament. Details of these and other stories will follow. Welcome back. In an attempt to update the general public on the recent protest action by fire officers assigned to the Portsmouth Fire Station, Fire Chief Josiah Dupuy held a press briefing at the Roseau Fire Station on Thursday. Dupuy stated categorically that the briefing was not a response to previous statements made about the protest, but to state the facts surrounding the matter. According to the fire chief, on May 21st, the Dominica Public Service Union, DPSU, and the permanent secretary of the National Security, Immigration and Labor Department held a meeting to discuss working conditions and other matters regarding fire officers.
An agreement was arrived at on several points, including moving fire officers at the Granby and Portsmouth Fire Station to rented buildings by July 2014 or earlier if possible. A proposal was submitted to Cabinet for consideration on the 24th of June 2014. A Cabinet paper number 0332 of 2014 cited approval in the case of Granby.
Dupuy said Portsmouth fire officers were exempt from the move due to an administrative error. However, efforts were immediately taken to correct it within the agreed July 2014 period. In addition, a change of the permanent secretary and intensified focus on the 2014-2015 national budget forced the process to be pushed back, Dupuy said. The fire chief said the DPSU was informed of the reason for delay on August 1st.
On August the 1st, that is the same day, the Deputy Chief Fire Officer Mr. Lawrence visited the Portsmouth station, and on his arrival, he reported to me that he met the officers at that station in a protest posture. They, by that time, had vacated the station building and had claimed that the building was uninhabitable.
For weeks, the fire officers slept outside the station in protest. The officers claimed that they were protesting several working conditions, including the length of their daily work shifts at the Melville Hall Airport. According to the fire chief, after being informed of the conditions of the protest, he dispatched fire officers from the Roseau branch to the Portsmouth station.
My concern was that since the telephone lines were not being answered by the officers at that station, the Fire and Ambulance Services Division was in effect not providing emergency coverage for the district. On August 7th, the landlord of the building selected for housing the officers communicated with the Deputy Chief Fire Officer that the building proposed for use by fire officers would be available by August 16th, 2014.
Dupuy said by August 8th, the Portsmouth Resource Center had been identified as a suitable facility to relocate the officers, considering that sleeping outside could affect their health. On Saturday, August 9th, the fire officers agreed to relocate to the building, but according to Dupuy, they still refused to operate from the Portsmouth Fire Station.
In consideration of the ongoing refusal of fire officers to answer the telephone at the Portsmouth Fire Station, and cognizant of the jeopardy and terrible risk their action had placed members of the community in that wide district from Bioche to Capuchin, from Portsmouth to Benz and Penville, and the potential impact of a fire or mass casualty incident with late or no response.
An emergency transfer list was issued on Monday, August 11th, with effect the following day. Normal operation resumed from Wednesday, August 13th, and on Saturday, August 16th, the officers were moved to Harbour Lane, Portsmouth, in the facility originally identified for the officers' relocation. The fire chief pointed out that management of the Fire and Ambulance Services Division does acknowledge the right of fire officers to register complaints or grievances in various forms. However, the Industrial Relations Act also describes set procedures for such actions. Several students from various primary schools on the island are now better equipped for school in September after a donation of school supplies by National Petroleum Products Dominica Limited, NP. On Thursday, the company donated numerous exercise books and pens to rural schools around the island. Hesketh Rumont, local general manager of NP, said the company is donating the supplies to a total of 8 primary schools as part of its community outreach program.
In addition, NP will be contributing books to preschools and individual families in other communities. This initiative also forms part of NP's community outreach program. In that regard, I'm also delighted to announce that NP will construct a bus shelter in a rural community, and that community has already been identified.
Speaking at the presentation, Simeon Joseph, Assistant Education Officer of Events and Functions, said this is not a new initiative from NP and commended the company for its continued support.
We want at this point to continue to express our gratitude to them for having adopted the Bells Primary School 6 years ago. And during this time, they have taken care of all the maintenance needs of the Bells Primary School. They continue to provide cleaning materials for the school. They continue to provide prizes for graduation at the Bells Primary School every year. And there's a pledge from them that that is going to continue into infinity.
Schools which received assistance include the Bells, Mont Prosper, Dubique, Campbell, Loda, Thibault, and Bakers Primary Schools. Many know her for her sweet serenading voice in the music industry as Dominica's Lady of Song. However, Dominicans will now recognize Olivia Murray as a writer with the publication of her first book titled Hopscotch, Dominican Youth in Focus. The publication contains 50 delightfully presented biographies of young persons involved in and connected to varying aspects of Dominica's cultural expressions. In an interview with Star TV on Thursday, Marie said the writings first appeared as a series of articles published in the Dominica Sun newspaper over a period of time.
Well, people would know that I'm particularly interested in anything that is positive. And I find that young people get too much of a blow when people say that they're worth nothing or there's nothing that they do well. And that I have found to be untrue. Young people have a lot of things to say, a lot of things to do. Sometimes they're shy. Sometimes they don't have quite the self-confidence that they need to come forward with their thoughts or with what they're doing.
Trained in advanced youth work, Marie considers the book to be one way by which she can demonstrate support for the positive and uplifting activities of the youth of the nation. The book expresses their hiccups and moments of frustration as they plod along and persist in successfully executing their craft.
There are a few young persons whom I had approached when I was trying to do my last number who are aware that I have been doing those things and would like to also express themselves. So there is that non-pressured kind of part too that may become something. But I would just like to see what happens to this first effort, and then I will decide what to do.
Hopscotch is filled with powerful examples of Dominica's talent at its best and includes inspiring examples in calypso, pageantry, culinary art, traditional and modern dance, Kalinago art, still pan, costume design, opera, and of course music, Marie's forte.
I would like this effort to encourage young persons to continue to develop themselves and to contribute to the development of our country. I have been highlighting the cultural aspect of young persons' contributions.
The new author said the book highlights young persons island-wide, but also includes Dominicans living abroad. The book is available online for sale on www.amazon.com for $7.99. When we return, New Generation Month to be observed in September. Welcome back. The Rotary Club of Dominica has announced the launch of New Generation Month to be observed in September. President of the club, Marie Jose Edwards, said New Generation Month is aimed at recognizing the hard work of the youth who are part of community service clubs such as the Interact Club and the Rotaract Club of Dominica.
As you know, 30% of the world population consists of young people. We call them the millennials. And in fact, they are really very positive persons. They know what they're about. They are well connected. They are into the whole ICT. So in fact, they have a very wide reach in terms of other persons. And because our club is the Rotary Club of Dominica and we believe in renewal, we promote and support our younger clubs. And in fact, for this month, there are a number of activities that the Rotary Club have developed to celebrate and to work with the young persons.
Chairperson of the New Generations Committee, Ruth Alport, said the committee is a new avenue of service of Rotary International, which began in 2010. Alport noted the observation of New Generation Month will see the engagement of the activities between the Rotary, Interact and Rotaract Club to promote youth and civic responsibilities on the island.
For the 2014-2015 year, Rotaract year, which began in July officially, we have a number of activities that we will be engaged in with young persons, and particularly with Rotaract and Interact clubs. The Rotaract clubs are with young persons between the ages of 18 and 30, and the Interact clubs are with young persons between the ages of 12 to 18. What we will be doing this month in particular, as we have celebrated this month, tomorrow we'll be participating in the Dominica State College Club Day. They have the Student Affairs Office has organized a club day where a number of clubs will be featuring themselves and promoting their activities and encouraging members of the Dominica State College to join these clubs. And the Rotary Club of Dominica will be participating in that activity.
She said the club will also seek applicants from the Dominica State College for the Rotary Club's annual scholarship program.
What it involves is an essay competition that the students enter, and the two top winners of those essay competitions are awarded scholarships of $1,500 each to go towards whether it's their tuition or their books, whatever, where their need is at that particular time. We will also be issuing invitations to the presidents of the Rotaract Club and the Interact Club to take part in our weekly meetings and to present their activities, because even if they are like satellite clubs of the Rotary Club of Dominica, they are independent in that they have their own management.
Other activities for this year include a vocational symposium scheduled for October and a day with the president in December. Activities will continue in 2015 with an ethical symposium, the 4th literary quiz competition, and a regional youth exchange among the Rotaract clubs from the region. Dominica is host country of a regional workshop to support the implementation of case-based surveillance (CBS) systems in 6 countries of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States (OECS). Under the current Pan-Caribbean Partnership Against HIV and AIDS PANCAP Global Fund Round 9 grant agreement, the OECS has been granted partial funding to establish and use integrated HIV case-based surveillance systems to generate the required data to report on 3 indicators by December 2015. National authorities and health officials from Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have been on island from September 3rd to plan the main activities for the successful implementation of both the paper-based and the electronic versions of CBS in the OECS. Dr. David Johnson, Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, said like other countries, Dominica must ensure that its health sector provides standard services to its citizens.
There is a general consensus that strategic information for sustainable investments in the health sector, and particularly HIV/AIDS, is critical for all of us in the region. In a climate of dwindling global resources, we in the region will find it more challenging to sustain the gains we made in addressing HIV/AIDS epidemic, except we establish and use the integrated HIV/AIDS case-based surveillance system to generate the required data and information to report on indicators and to demonstrate performance.
The Chief Medical Officer said achievement of set goals such as 0 new infections, 0 discrimination, and 0 AIDS-related deaths will be difficult to demonstrate without a robust case-based surveillance system. Dr. James St. Catherine, head of OECS HIV and AIDS Project Unit, warned the participants that this workshop should not be taken lightly, lest the countries are left behind.
these next 3 days are not going to be the joyride that you may have expected. This is going to really be a mind-twisting session. Yesterday, just going through the agenda, we had that. You are now going to live that agenda. At the end of the 3 days, we have some clear deliverables.
Implementation of effective case-based surveillance (CBS) systems will allow these OECS countries to better deal with health epidemics, including TB, HIV and AIDS, and other non-chronic diseases. The workshop is expected to close on September 5th. The Port Young Hotel was buzzing with family activity last Sunday when VF Inc. hosted its inaugural Family Symposium. The event was celebrated under the theme, Our Family, Our Home, Our Brand. Chief Executive Officer of VF Inc., Dr. Valda Henry, said the symposium was conceptualized following requests by the public for a family-oriented event.
Family is very, very important to God, because if we look at the commandment, I said the only commandment in the Bible with a promise is the one that says, honor thy mother and thy father, so that thy days shall be long. It's the only commandment with a promise. And so, again, another indication of how important it is. Throughout the Bible, God speaks, and the psalmists and the other persons in the Bible speak about how children are our gifts, and children are in a way our reward too from God, like the quivers in the arrows of a soldier. And so, the family unit being so critical to the success of society.
She said parents need to ensure they provide a nurturing environment for their children to allow them to blossom and fulfill their purpose in life. Dr. Henry added that the family is very important and the society work towards a world that is peaceful and harmonious.
What is our message to our children? What is our brand? So that what are the values we pass on? And it's the values that we pass on that becomes our brand. And that brand that goes out when the children go out and they represent our families, they represent not just themselves, but they represent our families. And while generally we don't associate branding with families, you know, subconsciously we do that. Because persons say, oh, this is a Henry, this is a Joseph, this is a Louis, this is a Francis. Oh, you mean the Henrys from Grand Bay against the Henrys from Mahi? You know, so we differentiate. So, and how do you differentiate? It's because there's a pattern based on how you were raised, based on expectation.
During the Family Symposium, topics pertaining to the family were explored by panelists. The free event was geared towards bringing families together for an afternoon of sharing, retrospection, introspection, and rebuilding. This has been the local segment of the news.